538 says Democrats will hold the Senate, or at least they're more likely to. This is why I always said when polling looks good, it may mean a red wave, but 3 months is still an electoral eternity. Still, 538 could be dead wrong. What they did was 40,000 simulations, and they took a random sampling, or it just says a sample of 100 outcomes, showing that Democrats win 52 in 100. I think, as per usual, Nate Silver and his cohorts are so insanely wrong. They've been wrong over and over again. They're probably wrong now. How could Democrats possibly win in a moment like this? Now, I do think it is within the realm of possibility they win. I just think the fact that it's leaning in favor of Democrats makes no sense when we've seen in Florida, for instance, more Republicans registered to vote than Democrats.
I think Florida's not a battleground state anymore.
Right. In Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, Republican. When you see safe blue districts in 2020 flip, I don't know how they think this could possibly happen. Other than the one point is there are more Republican seats up for re-election than Democrat seats.
I remind people of last year in Virginia, a state that Biden won by 10 points. Glenn Youngkin essentially wins by 2. 12-point swing in a year. That will be a year. We'll have the midterms a year after that. The trajectory has not changed for Joe Biden. It's gotten worse for Democrats as well. I tend to think anything that's 12, 13, 14, 15 points is actually in play for Republicans. Yeah. I think it's even to the point where anything that Joe Biden won by 20 points or less in 2020 is actually competitive.
Have you looked at Gallup's data on this? When they talk about first-term congressional losses, typically the Democrats have an advantage and still lose. Rather.
Well, the other thing is it's hard to be. It has happened very rarely that historical trends are beaten. On average, in the first midterm that a party holds the White House since World War II, they've lost 28 House seats and 4 Senate seats. They will have to absolutely defy historical trends, about 80-year historical trends,
and defy the economy.
Right,
gas prices, inflation.
The other thing I'll remind people too:
issues.
Obama's Reuters approval rating was 44.7% October of 2010. We all know what happened in November of 2010. 63 House seats. I think it was 7 Senate seats, 680 state legislative seats. I think Joe Biden's average on Real Clear Politics was 37-something or 38.
Joe Biden's aggregate approval rating recently dropped lower than Trump's worst possible aggregate rating. So Biden is actually has a lower approval rating at its worst point than Trump ever did.
Obama's party got clobbered in the 2010 midterms, and he's running about 6-7 points ahead of where Biden is right now. I mean, there's just a lot of different dynamics that are all falling into place. I have a hard time believing that Republicans aren't going to pick up 35, 40 seats in the House. I tend to think they'll probably 53-47 Republican majority in the Senate.
I think you guys are underestimating how much people really want Ukraine to have $40 billion for Vogue photo shoots.
Aren't we up to $53 billion or something? I can't remember.
That's a good point.
I think they really liked those Vogue photo shoots, all right, guys? Yeah. They were like, you know what? That was my tax dollars hard at work.
I just think at a certain point, the corporate propaganda machine cannot overcome gas. It can't. Like MSNBC can scream all day and night, and there may be some guy sitting in his lounge chair being like, wow, Trump's so awful. Then he gets up to go to work, and he goes to the gas station, stops and looks at that number and just starts crying.
Oh, the Monmouth poll recently had the 4 top issues that were most important to voters. It's all economic. Gas, inflation, groceries.
Do you know where abortion falls on Gallup's polling of 1%?
Yeah.
1% of people thinking it's the most important issue.
Have you seen what Rasmussen's been doing, which I think is really interesting? The top 8 issues for voters, the top 8 issues, I won't call mainstream media, corporate propagandists. There's no correlation at all between the top 8 issues at all. Not even close. I mean, for the corporate propagandists, it's climate change, it's January 6th, it's all this other stuff. For the actual voters, it's economy, inflation, gas, all of these things.
Real people issues.
Yeah, real people issues. And I think I tell people, the closer you get to an election, the trajectories harden. Mm-hmm. And we're pretty much into August. We're just, 13 weeks out from the midterms. These trajectories, unless something absolutely apocalyptic happens, these trends of Biden's going to have worse approval, inflation's not changing, all of these things, and you're going to come in November 8th and go, I am absolutely getting clobbered in the economy. And these guys want to tell me that somehow climate change, January 6th, I should have abortion on demand all the way up to the point of birth. Wait a minute. You're not addressing my day-to-day issues here. Get out.